Awesome. All right. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Hope everyone is having a wonderful summer so far, and that you're really getting to enjoy the warm, beautiful summer weather wherever you are. This is the Fung Fellowship info session for our fall 2026 cohort. We're thrilled that you're here, and today we'll be sharing a little bit about our program. And you'll also have the chance to really hear directly from our student panelists, giving you a glimpse into some of the exciting and innovative projects that they've worked on during their time at the fellowship. And also really getting to hear from them about their experience having gone through the entire program. I'm glad that we have representation from both our tracks today. And so to kick things off here, we will begin with some introductions very shortly. We also have a few slides prepared for you all to give you a little peek into what the fellowship entails. And so before we kick off with the agenda, I want to give everyone just a minute here to scan the QR code. You can also use the bit.ly link right here to submit an interest form if you haven't already done so, just to ensure that you can receive updates about the application, any tips, and so on, leading up to the deadline on August 2nd. So I'm going to give everyone here just a minute. Okay, and with that, I am going to quickly go over this agenda we have for today. So first up, as I said, we'll be kicking things off with a quick round of introductions, and then we'll dive right into our program information. We'll also be sharing a little bit about our story, how this fellowship came to be, and how it's evolved over the years. This year is actually we hit our 10-year mark, so there's been lots of changes, lots of growth over the years. We'll also share some key focus areas and topics that we focus within the fellowship. And then we'll also share a bit about our track offerings. The two tracks we currently offer, Health plus Innovation and Sustainability plus Innovation. And then our student panelists will be going over their projects, which is followed by a quick overview of the application process and some important reminders and tips there. And finally, we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. Any questions you have at any point during this session, you can either drop them in the chat or come off mute at the end during the Q&A segment. So with that agenda run through, I'm happy to start with my introduction. Again, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Priyanka. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the program manager for the Fung Fellowship. The fellowship program actually sits within the larger ecosystem of the Fung Institute here at UC Berkeley. And we're actually one of the several programs within the Fung Institute. And across all of these programs, our mission is really the same at the core, which is helping develop the next generation of leaders and equipping them to make a real world impact across technology and society. And my role here is really centered around experiential learning, around student experience, and just the different programmatic elements that bring this program to life. And really ensuring from day one, students feel supported, engaged, and that we're setting them up for success. This is my third year with the fellowship, and I honestly look forward to it every school year, every semester, just getting to work with students from so many different disciplines, just really watching their ideas evolve in real time and getting to collaborate them with them to tackle such a range of real world problems is incredibly rewarding, and it's been such a privilege to be a part of that journey alongside our amazing teaching team that we have, as well as the broader Fung Institute community. And with that, I will pass it on to Jennifer to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Like Priyanka said, excited to be here and share a little bit about the program. I work at the Fung Institute on kind of the experiential learning. So, with Priyanka on the Fung Fellowship, also some of our grad programs. We also actually did some executive education recently. I'm a Berkeley alum, so excited. And my previous background was in social impact and sustainability. So, kind of very excited to be part of this program and watch the projects our students work on. So excited to be with y'all tonight.
Thank you, Jennifer. Awesome. And moving us along, I'll pass it on to our student panel who've joined us today to introduce themselves. Tanya, you're welcome to kick us off. I see you've come off mute.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tanya. I was the curriculum lead for the health track, and my majors are cognitive science and data science. Fung Fellowship was way more than just a class or a fellowship to me, and I'm so happy that Priyanka invited me back to be on here and just share my insights again. So yeah, I'm grateful to be here, and yeah.
Thank you, Tanya. Just trying to see if Ali has joined us. There we go.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Allie. I was part of the Sustainability and Innovation Fung Fellowship, and I worked with Earth Team. I'm a data science major, minor in global digital infrastructure. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Ali and Tanya, for joining us today. So glad to have you both here today. Awesome. Okay, so with that introduction, to begin, I would like to share a little bit about the story of the Fung Fellowship. So, like many other programs at Berkeley, we've evolved quite a bit over the years, and we continue to do so. Uh, but I think it's important to note that every change we've made over the years has been really driven by a combination of student feedback, the changing needs of our community, and also the evolving challenges happening in the world around us. One thing you'll probably notice throughout today's session, and you've probably already noticed that on our website, is that we truly believe in co-creating the student experience with you all. So we regularly gather feedback, really encourage open dialogue, and continuously refine the program so it remains meaningful, so that it remains relevant and impactful for students from all disciplines. But looking back here, our story really began in 2016 with the vision of Coleman Fung, pictured here with Pearl, a proud Cal alum, an Army veteran, an entrepreneur, philanthropist, and much more. Coleman envisioned a program that would bring together students from different disciplines to tackle real world challenges through innovation, design thinking, and collaboration. And so, in partnership with the College of Engineering and the School of Public Health, the Fung Fellowship launched as a pilot program back in 2016. Since then, the program has continued to grow alongside our students. We began with a single health plus tech track, which later expanded to include what was then conservation plus tech. That was in partnership with Rosser, College of Natural Resources. And eventually, we updated both track names to really put an emphasis on innovation. I think that was really informed by our belief that and reflection that innovation is much more than just technology. It includes creativity, it really includes human-centered design, collaboration, and also understanding the people and communities we're designing with and for. And more recently, we transitioned. This was in 2025, last year, we transitioned from a year-long fellowship model to a semester-long experience. And this change really allowed us to provide a more focused, high-touch program while giving students greater flexibility to balance the many opportunities and commitments that come with um, life at Berkeley. And this past year also marked another exciting evolution. We updated our track name for the conservation track to sustainability. So it's now known as Sustainability Plus Innovation. And again, this change was informed by the growing need for a broader systems level approach to today's environmental challenges and reflects that interdisciplinary, forward looking mindset we hope our students will carry on into their future work um, beyond the fellowship. And looking back across all these different iterations that I have pointed out here, you can see that the Fung Fellowship has never really been static. And so we've always embraced this idea that great programs, like any other great innovation, are built through multiple iterations. And so we're constantly listening, learning, and refining based on feedback, the new ideas that you all bring, as well as the changing world around us. And it's very much in the spirit of fail often, fail fast, right? We've tried so many things, and it's not that each one of them has been successful. Like we've failed, and so we've constantly had to pivot and iterate. But really using every iteration as an opportunity to learn, improve, and create an even better experience for everyone involved. And so with that background and introduction, I'm going to move on to some core focus areas. So one thing that makes the Fung Fellowship really special is that fellows get to explore a diverse range of areas and topics. It's not just like limited to one core area. And the niche interests kind of also vary from cohort to cohort based on their interests, based on the project partners we recruit, which I think always keeps things relevant and fresh. But as a high level overview, the fellowship is centered around these three core themes: leadership, design, and innovation. On the leadership front, fellows dive into things like implicit bias, public speaking, as well as inclusive teaming. And so we really explore this idea of authentic leadership and really learning how to show up for yourself, but also your team members and collaborating with them. As for design, it could include things like different design thinking models, storytelling, journey mapping, really allowing you all to think creatively, but also empathetically about problem solving. Innovation, which I think innovation really rounds it out with exposure to technology, ideation, prototyping, different technical skills, as well as digital tech. So that fellows are really getting a well-rounded hands-on experience across all three areas and really getting to practice what they're learning in the classroom. And with that, I will turn it back to Jennifer again to share a little bit about the design challenge that we offer in the Fung Fellowship.
Thanks, Priyanka. So you're gonna learn in the program lots of different frameworks and mindsets. And so design is one of the themes that we're gonna think about as you move through your projects. And so you're really gonna think about, when you're partnered with one of these organizations, you really want to think about like, what does the community need? Where is the problem? So where you're going to gain skills and a lot of that kind of qualitative and quantitative research. And then, how do you define that problem? And so you'll do customer interviews, you'll engage with the community, you'll look at the competitive landscape, and then you get to kind of start brainstorming those ideas, developing some of them into like, a minimal viable product, and then go out and build and test. And so then you're able to go back to that community, work with folks to get it. And that's a big piece of this thinking. So again, you're going to learn other frameworks, how public health addresses, how conservation does, but you'll also have a chance to really have design as a core thread. And what's really cool about design in general is that you're able to apply it to lots of different types of problems. And so it's kind of like instrumental in the course, but it's nice to really be able to take this into your career as well. One of the most interesting factors about the fellowship, and I think that draws a lot of students, is really being able to work on an interdisciplinary team. So that's like a big part of this, which is really nice. So you'll work with people from different majors, all solving, the same problem with your community or industry partner. And it'll kind of be the semester long, but you'll also get other chances in the fellowship to do kind of like mini design sprints or trying it. So you start to get some of the experience around that.
Amazing. Thank you, Jennifer. Awesome. Okay. And with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about what drives innovation here at the Fung Fellowship. Let's see if I can get to this link. Okay, there we go. So as Jennifer mentioned, one of the most kind of defining parts of this fellowship experience here at Cal is the opportunity to work alongside our project partners. These are external companies, organizations, nonprofits that we work with to tackle real world challenges. And throughout the semester, student teams collaborate closely with these organizations to explore complex problems and develop really strong, innovative solutions. And to support that work, the fellowship is grounded in what we call impact-driven innovation. And these are some of the other core elements that serve as the foundation for how students learn, how they approach problem solving, and collaborate with partners throughout the semester. And I will say there are skills that extend well beyond the fellowship, right? That we hope that you take on to the I mean, this is real world, but real world after graduation. So I will briefly walk through each of these elements, starting with ideation. Recognizing that innovation starts with bold ideas, we really encourage fellows to push boundaries, to challenge the status quo, and really think beyond the conventional framework. And so this is where creativity really thrives. And so we really encourage you to think outside the box. In fact, one of the application questions you'll see is probably like reimagine a product. And so the sky is the limit, right? Really, again, really thinking outside the box. Next up, community engagement. Also recognizing that impact does not happen in isolation. It requires a very deep understanding of the people and communities we serve. So we encourage that active engagement, going to talk to the community or talk with communities that we're trying to design for, and doing a number of user-centered interviews, and really focusing on that human-centered design. So to really ensure that the solutions are relevant and meaningful and meeting the needs of the targeted population. Next up, collaboration and teaming. Again, as you probably already know, the Fung Fellowship does not have any major or GPA restrictions. So fellows really work in interdisciplinary teams, bringing kind of that unique skill sets and perspectives, which often, if not all the time, results in solutions that are more effective, inclusive, and sustainable. Next up, design. At the core of our design focus here is human-centered design, which essentially means placing the needs, experiences, and perspectives of the end users at the forefront of the innovation process, but you'll also be exposed to other design concepts and design thinking models. I think I might have skipped over building. So I'm going to go back to building here, which usually focuses on hands-on prototyping as well as different iterations, right? So really moving from research through different design phases and then really engaging in low fidelity and high fidelity prototyping. Technology is up next. We also recognize that emerging technologies have the power to bridge gaps and create lasting social impact. So whether that's AI, these newer AI tools, automation, data science, or digital tools, our fellows explore how to leverage technology for innovative and ethical problem solving, and really focusing on that um, ethical use as well. Leadership, I think this goes on to that foundation that I touched on early on during the session today. So leadership exploration and leadership development are integral aspects of the program experience here. So building key skills such as communication, public speaking, decision making, as well as problem solving, really helping you grow into confident leaders. Um, as we often say here in the fellowship, change makers as well. And so that was the last element that I wanted to go over, at least for today. But as you all can probably imagine, they all overlap and they all work in harmony. So as you're working with these project partners, really making sure you're able to kind of hone in and develop these different skills. Going back to the slide deck here. Oops. Okay. And so with that, quickly want to go over the track offerings, the two tracks we currently offer in the fellowship. So the fundamental pillars that we just looked at, leadership, innovation, and design, are really integrated within these two tracks. But as a track, as a course, they're focused on two distinct areas. So for the health track, we look at public health and well-being very broadly. Topics can include social isolation, nutrition, housing, mental health, and much more. And as we all know, these types of topics and challenges are very complex and requires in-depth assessment of policies, of social and economic, as well as environmental factors. So that assessment piece, the critical thinking, is also really embedded into the course. And for the sustainability track, we've explored topics within biodiversity conservation, sustainability, environmental health, and also looked at specific topics and challenges around land use practices, public education, environmental justice, and much more. And again, similar to the health track, also realizing that these topics have complex underlying issues and often needs in-depth assessment of a diverse range of factors. Some of our past projects in the sustainability track, our students have explored primary threats from land and sea use, direct exploitation of species, climate change, as well as invasive non-native species. And also, I think over the years, also really focusing on corporate sustainability and the role of businesses in mitigating environmental impacts. And again, these topics can look a little different every semester based on student interests and based on kind of those emerging topics, emerging trends, as well as concerns in public health and sustainability. And now let's take a closer look at who makes up our fellowship community. So we're incredible proud of the diverse and dynamic community that makes up this program. Our fellows come from a wide range of backgrounds, experiences, and academic disciplines. And the data you see here represents all fellows to date, kind of giving us a broad picture of the community we've built over time. So that's a total of 731 fellows. You can see the breakdown of self-identified pronouns right here. 50% of our students identify as BIPOC. We have 28% of students who are first generation college students. I think really a testament to the program's accessibility and support for students from all backgrounds. 25% transfer students, 18% identify as member of the LGBTQIA plus community, and 13% in the Disabled Students Program, DSP. And over the years, we have represented over 70 plus unique majors on campus. And again, so it's very interdisciplinary every semester. And so a few more, actually, before that, I want to say we will be dropping a link in the chat where you can actually see the whole background and the breakdown. Sorry, not the background. I meant to say breakdown of all the majors over the years. So you can really type in your major and see if that's been represented in the program. And I guarantee 95% it probably is in there. And also other kind of alumni data to see where they've been, what they're doing post fellowship. So that's all up on our website and welcome you to check that out. And so with that, also want to show you a few pictures here to give you a little peek into what the experience may look like inside the classroom. Some of these pictures were taken during our weekly lectures and labs, as well as different events that we hold throughout the year, including final semester events, pitches, networking events, industry site visits. And we also have guest speakers that come in each semester to share more insights on different professional experiences, kind of sharing that best practices in the field and really allowing you to kind of expand your network. And there are also some cross-cohort community building opportunities we offer throughout the semester. And with that, without further ado, I will now turn the spotlight over to our student panel to share a little bit about their projects and what solutions they came up with for the design challenges. Um,
This was my team and I's project. We were lucky enough to be partnered up with Kaiser Permanente. Our problem was focused mainly on Gen Z or young adults, ranged between 18 to 23. The problem was a lot of people, when they age off their parents' insurance, they don't want to come back to Kaiser, or even if they do, they don't know what steps they should take to get on their own insurance. So what we did is we basically made an AI chatbot for them integrated into the regular Kaiser Permanente app. We conducted over 50 interviews over the entire semester. And we had challenges throughout the semester where we would have to do team bonding activities. We even got the chance, we were lucky enough to be one of the teams that got to go to Kaiser's headquarters in Pleasanton, and we got to meet with the entire team. We had one of the COOs come in and like sit in for our pitch, and actually during our final presentation, we got the green light that our project was actually in the works and the Kaiser team is actively working on it. Basically, what we did throughout the semester, I was the product lead, so I took charge of coordinating between each person and also coordinating to and fro with the Kaiser team and us. We had bi-weekly meetings where we would tackle any problems we were facing if we wanted changes in terms of the layout, in terms of the design, and if we had any more questions for them, or if there were any other problems that they wanted us to address. Thank you to Priyanka as well because she got us access to Figma Pro, and the entire class and I and all of us could use Figma and other like prototyping materials for which we had a stipend to deliver our final product and present it in front of all the MENG students as well, which is almost like a dream come true. And yeah, something off topic, but it still relates to what I want to talk about that really stuck with me throughout Fung was that we got 24/7 access to Shires and Mud Hall. And if anyone knows during finals and stuff, 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., I would just walk to there and I would kind of use the space to kind of study or have study sessions with my friends and talk about any problems we were facing or how to present during the presentation day. And there's no final, so that's a plus as well. But yeah, if there anyone has any more questions, I would be happy to answer them. But that was basically KP Pulse or Project Kaiser.
That's so awesome. Thank you, Tanya. And yeah, thank you for the little plug on the building access as well.
Of course.
Awesome. All right, moving on to Ali's project.
Hi, everybody. Can you guys see me? I can't
Yes.
see. Okay. So we were in partnership with Earth Team. That's a local nonprofit here in the Bay Area. Our problem wasn't actually clear, but as we moved through the semester, we realized that they already had an incredible research program. So basically, they have high school students that were collecting real environmental samples to study tire and roadware particles. And our role wasn't actually to conduct the research; it was to help communicate it. Before creating any outreach materials, we attended workshops and joined the students during field sampling, which is the pictures that we have here, so we could understand both the science and the people behind it. The experience shaped everything we created. I mean, instead of focusing only on the pollution, we chose to spotlight the students as community scientists. We produced a short documentary style video, which you can see. I think there's a link there. Um, and we followed them on the field, developed surveys to measure, let's see, community awareness before and after learning about the issue, and used storytelling to make complex environmental research more relatable. Our goal was to help Earth Team share not only the findings, but also the impact that youth can have in advancing environmental science. But this only happened through, I feel like, the design of like the ideation process and iteration. During the process of this, we just kind of felt like we were stagnant and we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know where we were going. We thought we were like overwhelmed, but at the same time, we weren't doing anything. But it was only through actually like meeting with the students that we realized like the importance of like human-centered designed systems. So it wasn't like we were building a thing, which is what we actually thought. We thought we were going to build a physical thing, but that wasn't it. It was like it could be anything. It could be a system, it could be a program, it can be a story. So we kind of learned that the hard way, but that ended up coming, in handy for me at least later in the things that I'm doing now. So yeah.
That's such a good story. Thank you, Ali, and thank you both. I think both y'all projects are such good representation of the work that happens in the Fung Fellowship. And again, you'll have opportunities to ask questions, more questions about the projects or anything related to the experience at the end of this session. But it looks like we're doing really good on time. We're about halfway, but this is, I think, the last slide. So I'll quickly go over some application information before we turn it over to you all for questions. So applications are currently open. Due date is August 2nd at 11:59 p.m. And again, no major restrictions, no GPA requirement. Transfer students are highly encouraged to apply. It might take you anywhere, I'm going to say from 30 minutes to an hour to work on the application. And it's really an opportunity for us to learn more about you, your interests, your passion, and really to hear from you what brings you to the space. And you can also find more information about our program on our website. And if you have any questions at any point as you work on your application, please do not hesitate to reach out. I will be dropping our email, my email, and then our Fung Fellowship departmental inbox email as well in the chat box in just a little bit. So yeah, that's pretty much all about the application. And then we have the panel Q&A segment now, for which I will stop recording just to make sure that everyone feels comfortable asking and answering questions. So let me find my way to the Zoom panel thingy. Sorry, guys. Um, oh, there we go.